What's happening, people? Today's the day. Today is the day where we have got some interesting breaking news. Now, obviously, all things Liverpool related right here on the channel. Remember, like, subscribe, comment. It is all appreciated. I appreciate all of the love that I get from the channel, from the people. So, without further ado, let's get into it because there's quite a bit of stuff. There's quite some, there's the big main breaking news today, and I think we all know what that is, but there's some news on other positions in the squad that I would like to touch on potentially, and where we could strengthen, or if we are going to strengthen there. Now, without further ado, guys, let's get into the meat and the grit of the topic and everything Liverpool related. So, I'm proud to say today, I'm delighted to announce that Milos Kerkez is officially a Liverpool player. He did his medical, the interviews there, the pictures are all there. So at long last, after having to wait for a while, like we did for the words thing, we've had to wait for, I think we've waited about 3 weeks now. So finally, at last, Milos Kerkez is unveiled as a Liverpool player. The signing is there. The interview's there. I'm going to watch that later, but I'm looking really, really forward to that. So, rest assured, guys, we have our new left back and the replacement to Robbo. Milos Kerkez, Liverpool player at last. And I am very excited for that. I'm very excited and happy to see how this signing fits into the team and what we can expect from him going forward into next season. Now, look, I have to say, Milos Kerkez, Kerkez, surely he has to be the starting left back, I mean, with news on Robertson, and I'm going to touch on Robertson in a minute, but with news on Robertson moving on potentially, I think if Robertson was going to stay, we could have maybe interchanged him and Kerkez a lot more. We could have literally switched them up quite a bit, because Robertson, I always felt going into the last year of his contract, he was going to play his skin out to get a new contract for next season. So I always expected a good next season from Robbo, and I thought that way we could interchange the left back position quite a lot. Kerkez can play in certain games and Robbo can play in other games. That's what I hoped we'd do, but obviously with Robbo looking like he's on the way out, you can't really do that with Tsimikas, because obviously we know Tsimikas is not as good as Kerkez and Robbo. So it is going to have to be Kerkez for me as the standout left back, and Costa Tsimikas only plays in emergencies, whereas with Robertson, I would have liked it if we could maybe interchange a bit more, but it is what it is with that one. Unfortunately, it looks like Robertson's on his way out, so we may do with what we got. I mean, we've still got our brand new left back signing, so look, I always think Kerkez was going to play majority of the games anyway over Robertson, but it would have been nice to be able to swap them around every other game or so, but it's not, and it is what it is, unfortunately. But it doesn't matter to me because, like I said, it is what it is. Pardon. Now, on Robertson, I wanted to touch on Robertson now. Obviously, it looks like Robertson is on his way to Atletico Madrid now. I don't know what's happened, but in recent weeks, the rumours on that have gone really dead. I still believe he's going to move. 100% I believe Robertson will be on his way out of Liverpool this summer, but the rumours have gone very quiet. The transfer talk has gone very quiet around that. Now, I don't know. Is that a sign that maybe he's going to stay? I'm not sure, but look, I don't think so. I still expect Robertson to move to Atletico Madrid this summer. I think it's a matter of Atletico Madrid getting to a number high enough where Liverpool can look at it and think, okay, now we can start having real negotiations. So I think that's the case, really. But look, if Robertson's to stay, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind keeping Robbo around, to be fair. But it's a ruthless business, and it has to be ruthless at times. And you see, Slot is making tough and ruthless decisions, and I love it. I love it. So I still expect Robertson to move to Atletico Madrid. I just think that they need to get to a number high enough where Liverpool can start, or feel that they're in a position where it's now negotiable. We can negotiate with them. So yeah, I expect Robbo to still move on, and I expect that transfer will pick up in the coming days, in the coming weeks. So yep. Now look, I have to be totally honest now. I'm still not seeing no real links to a striker now. Is this worrying? Not really, because obviously if Darwin moves on, and that is looking likely, he'll be sold. So if Darwin moves on, I still believe the club will go get a striker. Now, I'm not seeing no links to a striker at the moment, so that is a little bit off-putting. Is there a world where we don't sign a striker? Yes, I think if we don't sign a striker, however, that will mean that Wirtz will have to play in the fake 9 role, like Firmino did for all them years. So, do we really want that? No, because like I said, I want Wirtz to be played in that number 10 role, in his natural position where he can thrive the most. You don't want to be shoehorning him, in my opinion, into a fake 9. Now, albeit, Wirtz can play there. Of course he can play there, but, you know, we want to get the best out of Florian Wirtz. And to do that, I feel he has to play in the 10, in a 4-2-3-1. Not as a fake 9 or as a winger. I feel he has to be as a 10 for him to thrive and for us to get the best out of him. So, that striker is important. That striker is important because if we don't get that striker, it looks like Wirtz is going to be shoehorned into the fake 9 position. And I don't really want to see that, to be fair. Like I said, no links to a striker. Is it concerning? No. I mean, am I really excited at the prospects out there at the moment, striking-wise? No, I'm not, to be fair. Like I said, loads of clubs want a striker, and there's not a lot to choose from. So I would like us to try and get the best one available if possible. It looks like the talk is mainly around Hugo Ekitike. Again, like I said before, doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence or a lot of hope or a lot of optimism or excitement even. But that looks like it's the name that is the most common at the moment. Hugo Ekitike. So I haven't watched much of him, but I will be keeping an eye out more on his game, because if he is going to be our striker, obviously us as fans need to know about him and what type of striker he is. Other than that, other than Hugo Ekitike, there's not really, I don't see links to anyone else. I'm seeing that we're not going to give up on Isak. That transfer is not happening. I think we may as well accept that transfer isn't happening, because there's no way Isak is moving away from Newcastle this summer, in my opinion. You know, he's got no reason to move at the moment. Like I said, Champions League football. He's going to be playing Champions League. And he just looks like he's at home over in Newcastle at the moment. So, this summer, I don't think Isak goes anywhere. But like I've said, I feel next summer, he could potentially be off on his way to somewhere else. So, yeah. I'm just really curious as to who the club are going to go for as a striker. Now, we know Richard Hughes and FSG sometimes just pull a signing out of the bag, out of nowhere. Fabinho back in 2019, that came out of nowhere. There was no links to him, really, nothing, and all of a sudden he's unveiled. I think Jota was very similar. So there are certain signings that FSG make that they keep under wraps, and they just keep really quiet, and then get unveiled, and everyone's like, wow, where's that signing come from? I feel the striker position could be that type of signing, where they go and scout and look for a striker that maybe isn't the nicest name out there or the most attractive name, but they feel he or they are a superstar in the making. So I can definitely see FSG 100% going for someone unknown or going for someone who has potential, in their opinion, to be a top striker. I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. They did it with Fabinho, like I said. They did it with Jota. They've done it with other players down the years. So it's definitely something I can see them doing. Would I want to do that? No, because it's a big risk. We need a proper proven striker next season. You know, City have got Erling Haaland. You know, City are going to be on it next season, like I've said. We need someone who can rival Haaland or be up there with Haaland in terms of the Golden Boot. Like I said, the whole point of us getting a striker, in my opinion, is because we need to score more goals. The attack as a whole need to be sharing the goals out a lot more. At the moment, it's mainly Salah who gets the goals now. I want Salah. I want the onus to be taken off Salah a bit next season. You know, Salah obviously still let him do his thing, still score goals, but let a striker come in and take some of the pressure off him to score all the time. That is how I look at it. You know, the whole point of it is for me to take Mo off, the pressure off Mo, sorry. And then Salah and the striker can obviously share the goals out between them. But we need a proper striker, I feel. Definitely, 100%. In my opinion, someone proven. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of proven names out there at the moment on the market, so that's a big disappointment in my opinion. But we'll have to see where it goes. I mean, I'm really curious who we're gonna get in. Really curious. But yeah, that is it for me today, guys. I'm gonna head off. I'll be back very soon with more Liverpool related news. Remember, like, subscribe, comment. Please show some love. I appreciate everything, or all the love that I get. Liverpool profit out. Up the Reds. Let's go.